can only pray for you for grace to be committed to building your faith. There are some prayer we pray that don't have any biblical back. Oh Lord, open the windows of heaven of everybody. He won't do it.
So that whole idea of praying that God will open the window of heaven is by itself faulty. Is by itself, not scriptural. Maybe somebody will be able to prove it. If anybody will be able to prove it to me, that is scriptural to pray that God will open the gates of heaven, okay, it's fine with me, it's okay. But I didn't see that there in Malachi. I'm not sure what God is talking about there is pray that God will open the gates of heaven. What God was talking about there is that the leaders, because that scripture is written to the leaders of Israel, to these religious leaders who are taking the tithe and the offering of the people and using it for their own needs. The same thing the churches of today are doing. Exactly what that Malachi 3 is condemning is what the churches in Nigeria today are doing. The leaders of the church in Nigeria today, they are as well taking all the tithe and offering from the people, from the very same people the tithe and offering was supposed to be given to. Because in the Old Testament, the order is that the tithe and offering must be given, handed over to the people. So the whole idea of the New Testament, of the Old Testament, is that tithe and offering is meant for the poor, the widows, the strangers, and the fatherless. So the people who are disenfranchised in the society, the people who are, who are poor, who are outcasts, who are destitute, the people who couldn't afford to have things by themselves, they are the people we are supposed to gather tithe and offering for. So tithe and offering is meant, 90% of tithe and offering is meant to take care of the needy. So what God was condemning in Malachi chapter 3 is condemning the fact that all the people who are bringing tithe and offering to the church, and the leaders of the church in those days were using those things to meet the needs of the church or their own needs. And God was saying, no, you are robbing me. Because as long as you are robbing the ordinary people, you are robbing me. So that's what he's saying, because this whole idea of tithe and offering is God's welfare system in Israel to take care of the most vulnerable people in the country. That is why we had the Jubilee, the year of Jubilee, so that the people who are destitute, who are unfortunate, who are weak, who cannot fend for themselves, so that those days they could be catered for and their needs could be met. So it is that old concept that is being robbed or that is being violated, and that was making God to be ungrunted, to be offended. And so God was writing that Malachi 3 to the leaders of the church that stop taking what belongs to ordinary people, innocent people. Stop taking what belongs to the weak. And that as long as you are taking those things, you are cursed. But he's not talking about the weak. He's not talking about the people who brought those things. He's talking about the leaders who are redirecting the things from the people to themselves. He's talking about that the leaders of the churches or the synagogues were the ones who are cursed. So he was now telling them, give back. Give all this tithe and offering that you are collecting, give them back to the people they belong to. Give all this tithe and offering back to the widows, to the orphans, to the strangers, to the weak, to the poor, to the destitute. Give them back. Once you do that, you try me by doing what is right. Do what is right. Take care of the vulnerable. Once you do that, you will see that I will open the gate of heaven upon your whole nation, and I will pour down my blessing upon the land. That is the whole concept of Malachi 3. So it's not saying that you should just come and be asking God to open the basis of heaven, on the gates of heaven. On the basis of what? He didn't even say in that Malachi that people should pray for that. He didn't say that pray that I will open the gates of heaven. No. He said do what is right. So, and that is very important. That's a very important principle here. Whenever we do what is right, whenever we do, the things that are by the expectations of God and laws of God, God automatically releases blessing upon you. For example, when we follow the laws of creation, the laws of diligence, for example, when you are diligent, God automatically opens the gates of heaven upon you. Just because you are diligent. Why? Because the hands of diligence make it rich. The hands of diligence make rich, or the hands of the diligent will make him rich. Why the hands of the lazy will bring him to poverty? So it is automatically, you do the necessary, you do the obvious, you do the honors, you do what needs to be done, and automatically the laws of nature, God has already positioned the earth and the nation and the forces of nature, the forces of atmosphere, the atmospheric forces, energy of the spirit, the spiritual forces. Everything is being positioned in space, in time, in matter. Everything is being structured in such a way that when you obey the laws of nature, automatically things work out for you. So you don't need to be a Christian. This doesn't matter if you are a Christian or you are not a Christian. And you don't need to pray about it. And this explains the reason why what our bishop is saying here, it doesn't hold water. You don't. That's why Europeans don't pray that God will open the gates of heaven for them. The Europeans don't pray that God will open the gates of heaven for them because they don't need to. They just need to obey the laws. When they obey the laws of hard work, when they obey the laws of diligence, when they obey the laws of excellence, when they obey the laws of process, when they obey the laws of productivity, when they obey the laws of services and goods, when they do those things, automatically the whole forces of nature begins to work on their behalf. So let's start that all over again. Let's start all over again, and let's hear what Bishop is saying. I would like to call